this, and I'm going to change to my regular microphone just in case. And I have to go to the sunflower there and line in. Okay, I think we're good there. Just get a sound check on the. Yes, it is. Thank you, Vince. Okay, we're ready to go here. And this is the 84th Keshe Knowledge Seekers Workshop. It's October 22nd, 2015, and we are ready to go here with the broadcast from the Keshe Foundation at the Spaceship Institute in Italy. So Mr. Keshe is ready to go with his MagGrav's power unit sitting there on the table. So I'm sure he's got a few things that he'd like to tell us about. So go ahead there, Mr. Keshe.
Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever and wherever you listen to these broadcasts, as you know, Thursday mornings is joint public and students around the world watching and listening to both. Today, we don't have much announcement to make, except what you see on the table. This is a MagRab power which we showed in Rome, and we gave a sample to the world ambassadors. And on the other hand, the first units, as we promised on Monday morning, will leave the factory to the people who bought it. There are two setups of the MagRab power and the MagRab car power unit. There are a number of developments which we have to let you know if you have not listened or you have not been aware of. The first is, as we promised in the World Ambassadors meeting, on Monday, the deadline for the governments finishes. We know a number of couple of countries have started moving in the direction trying to test to see how fast they can come to understand the position. But in reality, what is our main development and our main concern is to disperse the knowledge of the development and producing these units worldwide. The reason is very simple. This way, everyone has the same chance. We estimate maybe 1 or 2 million people will make their own system. The rest of what we call 7 billion will not be able to do it. So we're encouraging as many people to produce as much as possible. And the only way we can do it is we allow you, if you want to be part of the MagRab Keshe Foundation SSI, to carry the logo. So we don't make you agents, you don't become agents, you become manufacturers. We give you the right to carry the logo, but in that way we monitor a lot of things that it works within the ethos. The whole structure is, after this, we supply a second unit, which is a water, and we ask as many people as do. I have to remind you something which I just received before I leave this morning, is that, as you know, Omega Quantum, which they gave us the shares to be 49% shareholder, by deception have closed Omega Quantum in China, in Hong Kong, and opened a subsidiary in Singapore and China. And they annihilated all the shares of the Keshe Foundation. Means Keshe Foundation China lost huge amount of progress. We see these deceptions as a pattern of the work of the people who came to steal, and now they start a new setup. We wish them all the best, especially for Sohail, who masterminded this deception. But on the other hand, you know Sohail is involved in a lot of illegal activities, and the Chinese Keshe Foundation is heavily on him. Does not matter what he sets up, this deception is irrelevant to us. We gave a gift, we don't expect anything back, but by annihilating the shares of the Keshe Foundation Omega 3 of China, we will see a lot of these kind of deceptions around us. So we give it free, we don't expect anything back. Whatever came, we spend on the foundation for whatever was there. But people like him will come across a lot. It's the strength of the foundation
Oh, we seem to have a bad connection there, Mr.
progress.
Kesh.
So now we see in their deception, they serve the foundation. They bring new things out. We don't see the financial benefit to go to China, but on the other hand, people will get healed and the rest of it. So I get a lot of threatening emails from Sohail, but we ignore it. We pray for his soul that he might evolve to a new level. But this was expected. So China Keshe Foundation will have nothing to do with what was the share was going to go to Omega Quantum to Keshe Foundation. They lost the income. But I warned the organization, we are working very closely with Chinese government for arrest of Sohail for a lot of illegal activities. That's why his phone was released, his conversation was released by the security services. So what we ask, please, Omega Quantum Singapore or China, produce as many as you can because you only serve humanity. On the other hand, you have to realize you are all in it together. The same thing as we said, when we had the situation where we developed the technology, we released the technology. Now, what we are doing, next week, from Monday to Friday, we have Open Day Blueprint Week. What does this mean? Is that, yes. Few seconds. So what it is, we will next Monday to Friday show every day how to build the systems and how to make them. What are the pitfalls, what you have to watch, and what you have to, in a way, organize. In so many, the structure of a total setup will go through step by step, as we promised in the World Ambassadors meeting. What we're going to do, have you got your camera back or are you still changing? Is it okay? Hasn't been changed yet. Okay. I'll start writing after you changing. The position is, our objective is not to gain financial income. Our position is to distribute the knowledge as fast as possible, that in time we can change a lot of people's lives. It's okay, it's done. So we are not looking, we even produce now ourselves. We are the manufacturers here in Italy. We are the major shareholder. We are the investors in the development. We work with officials now in Italy to see to create at least 3,000 to 5,000 jobs by Christmas. The factory position is already, everything is done. So what we expect to see is the first 1,000 units will leave around 26 from the factories worldwide. Then we increase the production to 10,000 units in the first week of November and 100,000 units by the end of November per week. We will drop the prices drastically. We don't drop the prices. What we decided to do, instead of the way we structured it, now we've been open, we expect the same openness from you. We put the price of the unit and we ask you to donate 1 or 2 or 3 units to the other people around the world. Now, We've been open, we ask for openness. The ones who come and take a unit and run, they carry the soul of stealing. We look at it, just take what they like. The ones who come, we done this before, is you can put the name of a person, the address where you want the unit to be donated to, or you can allocate a nation. This way, anybody makes any unit, we are all the same price. If you are there just to take and run, that's yours. But if you are there to be as part of the ethos of the Keshe Foundation, you still donate 1,000 as it is, but we decide where we send it to. This way, the option stays with us. This way, the option stays with you. We've seen a lot of people who come and says, I just don't want nobody else to benefit by the except me. I want just to pay 500 euro. We said, yes, we accept your donation. But when we have time, we make it for you. Our purpose is to serve humanity first. And then we refund the money. We don't have time for you. It's a very simple way to do it. You work the way we do, we respond the same way. The interesting point is, from Monday to Friday, we will have a full television crew here in the presentation. So the crew which broadcasted the ambassadors meeting in Rome, they move here tonight or maybe Sunday. They set up their setting, and more or less we all the development and teaching on camera. They montage what they want, and Friday around 2, 3 o'clock, 2 hours will be live on satellite plus what they recorded. So does not go only on Keshe Foundation live stream and the YouTube. Worldwide, next Friday, we'll open the blueprints page by page on the screen at the end that people can photocopy. So what we want you to do is very simple. You need our knowledge to, what do you call it, develop or make a copy for yourself or a few copies or set up a manufacturing. But in doing this, we do what naturally has been done in millions of years. If you look at a fish, fish unconditionally lays thousands of eggs, hoping one or two will succeed to become another fish. This is what we are doing. No expectation, hope. So what we do, we release the technology as much as possible with the hope that you will develop it for your nations. You support us, we support you. That by spreading the knowledge so rapidly in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we force the governments to accept the technology as a breakthrough. We are not fighting. We're giving you the freedom. Whatever you achieve, publicize it. This is what I said to the ambassadors, and they didn't realize, is that when we are one nation, we don't need ambassadors. And now, in the teachings from Monday, this is what you're going to get. A full blueprint. We encourage you, but at the same time, work with the people and the groups which have an ethos of the Keshe Foundation. We released the name of the people who work with us, carry the name. There are in Germany, in Austria, in Switzerland, in France, and other parts of the world, in Malaysia and Singapore. But if you want to trust the name Keshe SSI or Keshe Foundation, support them, because then you know you support humanity. Anything comes up under any other name, you understand, these systems carry not just the power, but they have a magnet and gravitational. So they carry the soul of the producer. Coming by stealing is the nature they steal your lives. So Now, not only the power unit comes through, the ethics of the work come into it as well, because you have a connection, emotion through your soul with the systems. Is all by Friday can produce the systems. What we see wrong or can be avoided, we let you know. What we see the correct way, we let you know. Hopefully, you report back to us in what you are doing and what is be seen. Since we released this last Friday, we have developed a new adoption to it. So by the first time, the first unit leave on Monday, the adoption has been made into it. The units are and are labeled for 2.2 or 2 kilowatt maximum. But in the teachings, we show you other powers are possible. It depends how you handle it. These units are 2 kilowatt power, that maximum 60% reduction in your power output from your meter. So it means, as I said, 2 kilowatts. If it was €1 per kilowatt, you had to pay €2 for a 2 kilowatt heater. Now you pay about 80 cents after the system has run. You got to be very clear. When you connect these systems, we teach you step by step. You cannot plug in, plug out. The system has to be constant, continuous. Because every time plug in, plug out, it means you tap into the resetting. So when you start your system, at the moment, this is our, what do you call it, research. This is not the standard of the system. We have set a system. We are carrying 5.3 kilowatts, and I think we can increase it to about 15 to 20 kilowatt with no problem. But it has to be consistent. You can't plug the system in and immediately expect results. You have to allow the system to nanocode itself. So if you keep a constant flow, within 2 to 3 weeks, you nanocode the whole system in the round where you're using, and then you see the maximum efficiency. In the factory test, which we are doing before release, we see 20% reduction in the first 2 hours. And then we see 30% reduction in supply in 3 hours, and so on. So these are the parameters which we see. Don't forget, we are the initiator of the technology as Keshe SSI. But collectively, as a human race, we are the developers. So we learn, we feed back, we add. And those who come and learn and steal and change the name of the companies to steal because they think they're stolen, those stealing money will be paid for blood cancers and everything else which goes with it, because they're stolen from human race. So we wish you one thing: direct and correct conduct. We share with you if you see a problem, share with us that it doesn't get harmed by nobody else. This way, we do not need licensing, even though we comply with all the world licensing agreements and arrangements. We are strong enough that I personally stand for everything on the license. Because if you are here to stop, you cannot stop. Other people are developing, other countries are doing, other nations are doing. And this time, the leaderships, the multi-conglomerates like power companies have no more say. It's us as one race setting a new course. Energy free,
Mr. Kesh, we've lost you there.
so together we develop a system for human race that by, as I said in the other teachings, and we heard from our people in Mexico, when we have enough units around the world which people use, we'll feed ourselves independent of any power supply. This is where the secret is. This is why I released this technology this way. You're in a small island, develop it. You're in a small, God knows, piece of land somewhere in the middle of the sea, develop it. You're in the main cities, develop it. We sell you, you make it and sell yourself. Once we create 7 billion, even 1 billion, then the fields amongst the whole earth will feed us free of everything. Because then we take what we need. Then you find out, as I said, lions won't eat deers and whales will not eat another fish. But now you have a huge problem. What are we going to do with the surplus fish in the sea when they don't eat each other? Would they come to balance? Would the humanity come to balance that the situation comes? I explained to you, we deliver a system that soldiers or terrorists or militias do not even remember why they're carrying the arms. Because when we release enough of these units across the world, the whole emotion of the man will change. Now you know how I brought you all to the point I wanted. Without a single bullet, without a single negotiation with the United Nations, without signing a single peace agreement with any of you. You walked into it. And from Monday, I ask you, I urge you to produce as many as you can. The faster, the more you produce, the faster we get to the point of the promise of this land, that this village of earth will be a peaceful place. You heard from the Mexicans that they took their power unit from one house and they took it to the sister's house. The house originally was connected to is still getting powered by the unit. So now you know what I'm talking about. We have brought you the option and the opportunity of the world peace, but through the back door, because this was a magic show which I did not create it. You looked at the wrong place. There was no magic. This was the unit which the King of Belgium fought and put a death murder on me to stop, to bring this unit out, that it could bring peace.
Sorry, Mr. Kesh, we can't, we lost that.
Now we see the harassment, as I said, by the Belgian authorities to harass all the Keshe Foundation supporters. They've been put under a lot of pressure. This matter is in the hand of International Court of Justice. It'll be handled. And that's why the governments and the multinationals wanted to stop you, or wanted to stop us to share. This unit here, and strange enough, 20 units has already been spread across the world. Chinese took it, Russians took it, Africans took it. But there is one secret. They were all made in a specific way from a bank of special materials. So now we have established the first 20 links across the world. If we would send it, they will hide it. This time, nobody is hiding it. Now it's in open. So please, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week, I even canceled the meeting with diplomatic corps in Rome on Wednesday to be here to make sure the whole week completes. Watch, learn, and you will understand how the technology will disperse. You disperse it. We have enough in Keshe Foundation to support ourselves to further teach and develop. If someone carries the blue mark and the Keshe Foundation logo, which we put the list of people, trust in them and trust yourself. We see organizations who are unethical, like Omega Quantum in Singapore or in China. We inform you, do not touch. You take from a stolen soul, is damage to the rest. So they can build as many empires, but at the end is you who decides which way. We are not here to make rich. We are here to share technology. Keshe Foundation Center will disperse every knowledge to do with energy, with food, and the rest. One thing, remember, we've seen how we had and we got forced to change the logo of the Keshe Foundation by deception. As we gave the owners of the logo time to remove 21 days, 21 days has finished today. Today we issue an invoice for 300,000 euro to Dirk Oressens for the payment of his use of the Keshe Foundation website. In the public information we released and letter to him, we told him it costs 10,000 euro to use us for his public logo name. 30 days is 300,000 euro invoice will be issued today. We pay the taxes to the Belgian government for it. And if it's not paid within 7 days by Belgian law, bailiffs will proceed to recuperate the funds for the Keshe Foundation worldwide. So we deal direct and precise. As you've seen, we changed the Keshe Foundation logo SSI to be in the correct position, but all the books, all the literatures are still in the hand of logo which has been put by deception, and the rent or advertising billboard is 10,000 euro. They don't like it, they have to remove it. Been used for 30 days, 300,000 euro is our bill. Because we submitted it, nothing has been done, it's payable by any law in the world. So we see how we deal, very correct and precise. So when we receive the 300,000 euro, it will be made to units and it's spread around the world, free units for the families who can afford or making the units. So the enemies of foundation still serve humanity. We are very open and this is the way we'll handle it. So now, please tune in on Monday, tune in on Tuesday, tune in on Wednesday, tune in on Thursday. And if you are quick enough, build units by Thursday, Friday. Tell us what is the problem, what you see, or what improvement we need to do to increase the performance of the system. Because now it's not us, you're making yourself. And teach as many people as possible. Because don't forget, our goal is this. If you can make self-sufficient units that are waterproof, take them to the seas, take them to the oceans and throw them in. Because if you look, the oceans and the seas are like this. And if you can get them down, you affect the soul of all the fish above. As we receive energy that brings us peace, let them be the same. The change is fundamental, it's not sentimental. You make it, you do it, we test it, we show you how to make units for food, please do so. You have to understand one principle. When you make your system, give from your soul to your system with the right conduct. This is what we said from the beginning. Pray for your soul, for your systems, pray for your reactors. So, in so many ways, when you build the systems, do it within your mind, and we remind you in every session in the coming days with peace in mind. That we can change peace, we can bring peace, and none of us will remember why we're behaving like animals. Because now you have everything you need. You will find decision making very much different. You find decision making much, much more acceptable to all of us. If you were hoping that we will not deliver and then you criticize, we couldn't deliver the first time because when we went to deliver, the Belgian authorities came and blocked. This time, we are in the freedom of Italian nation. They gave us the freedom and we gave you what we promised you. There is no radioactivity. It's been measured, it's been tested. Fields are within the range of governmental international level. And secondly, no one has managed to detect plasma level. If you make the plasma, which comes from this system, illegal, everybody should evacuate the earth because it's made of copper and earth is made of copper. If anything in these systems is illegal, we have to evacuate earth because earth is working illegal. We have not produced anything new. There is no radioactive material in it. So you will understand there is one option left after Monday. Collaboration of the government to see this through as fast as possible. We see reduction in fuel, we see reduction in power, we see reduction in demand on the natural resources which has caused so much pollution. Now you've seen what you have walked yourself into position of peaceful nations, peaceful people, and you will understand as more and more of the Keshe Foundation supporters and the people who develop this technology in a different way, you add to the knowledge. You add to the science. You add to the understanding of how much your knowledge shared equally will bring to the others. We've seen this with Brennan. We've seen this with the Philippine team. We've seen this with the Chinese team. We've seen this in London, in Nigeria, and other places. So I have a bad news for you, and I have a good news for you. The bad news is the ones who were hoping we do not come up and deliver, and they were sending us, the time is ticking that you go into prison. Now I made a prison for your own souls. And the ones who were there to support us in past years, and they trusted that is correct, and the governments are stopping us, your trust is paid for. I thank you a lot. All over the world, we received a lot of support. Now is the payday for what we promised, for a peaceful day for humanity. We open, please listen very carefully to every sentence which comes out next week. We show you step by step why you're doing it, the reason you're doing it, and how to assemble it, how to connect it. You see something different, teach us. The lines are open. We bring in every piece because we have an open case here. We go through it one by one. We show you how to connect, what not to connect, what we see as a problem, and how we see things need to be changed. If you have access to any material to replicate us, do it as fast as possible. Prerequisite, you need copper wire. You need nanomaterial, you need caustic, you need GANS materials ready for Monday before we start spreading and teaching, because this way you will learn. We use a copper wire gauge 14. We find it the most effective. If you speak to Rene, they use a thinner gauge copper for their health pens. They see different results. For the stronger pains, you need to use a thicker wire. It's the same. We have found in our research, gauge 14, which is 1/16 mil, is the best. 1.6 mil is the best for transmission of the plasma. So if you have it, you can do it. Next week is the only week which we speak about the matter state and not plasma, because we have to teach you how to develop to get in next step. So be very, very careful. You don't need anything. If you have no copper, one of the best things is a long root of plants. Long roots, very flexible roots, will do the same, because in so many ways they're already gas filled nanolayer coated. It's you who have to take it to the next step. We think this is possible, but we hope you can test it and let us know. Long strips like palm trees, center bar, strength threads are useful as well. So you can use natural resources, as I said to the Africans. You don't need to look into making a GANS from the copper. You can make a GANS from anything to use it for the system and development next week. We show you everything we know up to now according to what you understand. And from then on, we'll leave the channels of the Keshe Foundation for you to add to our knowledge. We've seen the conducts from Austrian and the Germans. Even though the blueprint is going to be released, they are going to produce under the Keshe Foundation manufacturing, that the benefit can go across Germany and Austria to their nations. These kind of conducts we support. In so many ways, we will change nothing, but 1 week will be a workshop week for every person on this planet. All of you, you have a 1 week workshop, which means together we build, together we fail, together we succeed. And then we go to food unit. And then we release the health unit. In next 3 to 6 months, every time we release a unit, all of us go through like a workshop like next week, do it together, that we all learn. Then there is no border, there is no nationality, there is no religion. I don't really care. You're in bed, you can't move, your arm moves, or you're a marathon runner. As long as you can make a unit that it helps you, gives you the feeling of the freedom and the freedom of everything, that's all it counts. You'll find out a lot of people who start developing these units will walk away from a lot of diseases. Because these units, once operating, even though they release the energy for what you want as running a heater or a meter or whatever, they release energy that your opposite neighbor. If you are a very correct person, buy one for your enemies. We send one to Sohail immediately, the first batch. It will be addressed to Omega Quantum, Singapore. We gave a hand of friendship and free information and knowledge and technology, but the greed of finance was too much. So we make them richer in their soul. One will go to Mr. Declarescence. One will go to other people, the President, the King of Belgium, and the rest. This is one of the first batches which go out. We need to elevate their souls that they understand there's one thing, serving and not self-greed. So this is what we do and this is what we need to do. We received an email that Belgians are worried about us isolating them. We did not isolate the Belgians. We isolated the criminal elements of the Belgians. The Belgians will receive their units and will send one to Mr. Delanois, Chief of Police of Belgium, who's after me to kill me. Maybe we can elevate his soul. So they have every excuse to work harder, to work, and then they find the more they work, it's like the unit. The more power you put on it, the more it releases. So it releases to elevate their soul. You got to realize one thing. Send a unit and donate a unit to your enemies. Then you find out in receiving it, they see it as a power unit, but they don't know when they turn it on, it changes them. They are made of plasma, it's creating plasma, somewhere the balance comes. We touch the soul of every man, and that was the promise of the Holy Books. So now you see it, we had to hide it in a box, but in reality, there is nothing in it but your own trust in yourself. So you got to remember one thing. We deliver according to your need. At the beginning, you will use a lot because it's free. And then in the time to come, you'll find out you don't need to worry about it because it's there. Understand the way it works. The way it works is that once you create a demand, the system needs to understand the demand that it can respond to. It takes time. You don't go to a restaurant and ask for a have we lost you or is it just a picture?
Yeah, we lost again there. It's back now.
It's back now.
Just the
So
last sentence.
as I said, it's recorded. You download it later on. As I said, when you put a demand, the demand has got to go to the system and needs to be returned back from the system. So it takes time. 3 weeks seems to be the right time for complete response. In the factory, we have seen 20% reduction in 2 hours, and we'll see 30 to 40% reduction in 24 hours. And in some cases bigger. You cannot put in and unplug and put in and unplug. You keep the system at a constant demand because every time you do, it has to do. It's to reverse. We are trying, and hopefully soon we can give you a system which is detached from the grid because we see a way out of it. Maybe other scientists around the world will come and will do it. I've got to answer a call. Just emergency, looks like it. Just 1 second, please. So we will change together. We will bring the change as all together in one go. The first 1,000 units will leave next week, as we promised. The first 10,000 units will leave in the first week of November. The total demand we estimate for Italy sits around about 3 million a month. And with the collaboration of the Italian government, we are achieving that. We are working in the background with a lot of people to make sure that we can deliver. As I promised, we will leave certain number of units in the poorest area of Italy for people to be benefited by it. We will release a large number directly into Ghana, as we promised the Ghanaian government, to Sierra Leone, as I promised the Sierra Leone government, and to Nigeria, and so forth. Our priority in Africa sits where we have our own people who can teach, that the people just don't receive something they don't know what to do with it, that they can teach them. The teaching we have asked, like in, what do you call it, in Ghana, if they can give us a television time that people can understand what they receive, what they have to do. The biggest problem from what we see is if we can create master units. The master units is going to be a challenge. We think it's possible, but in the coming weeks, we'll explain to you what it is. In a nutshell, once we create a master unit, all you need to do is to put your units next to it. So you put your blue box next to the master unit without any connection, and you take it anywhere, and you have your supply. So in one city, we need one master unit, because one unit can meet at least 1, 2, 3 megawatts of energy, because it's a plasma. The only thing is, if you run a plasma or you see the reduction, you just open the box and you spray it with more gas. That's all you need to do. It's the simplicity of it. In the structure, when we open it up, you see how we have guaranteed supply for at least 200 or 300 years. In these units, there is a specific structure which I devised, and it stays there, and it never can get damaged, except time. If it destroys it, you can replace it, where the energy source is permanent and for good, forever. So you never do. In a way, we have created a sun that radiates continuously. Every design here, every millimeter is calculated. Every position is calculated. It's not that just we put something together randomly and we achieve what we achieve. You have to realize the new system, which is getting released on Monday for cars and for energy power units, is the first generation, is the beginning. What we think we have to do, maybe we release 2 units at the same time. I explain that next Monday. Maybe we have to increase the size of the stack, that we can compensate for something else to guarantee self-generation. But as it's developed, we are an open organization. We explain what has happened and the way it happens. So as we know today, we stand here, we have managed. Our system is not what we say you will get. Our test shows 5.3 kilowatts with no movement on the meter. But it needs time. There are a lot of little things you have to watch when you build the system, and next week we go into the blueprint. Are there any questions? Fantastic. No questions.
I think we have some questions here. That's from Marco. Um, well, Nadine says, when you spray items with GANs, do you still have to isolate these items?
Learn on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Keep your question. If we haven't answered by next Friday, we answer you Friday morning. Anything to do with the construction, anything to do with development, keep. Something else you will need for this structure, go to the supermarket.
Sorry, we lost you, Mr. Keshe.
Rick, you there?
Yes?
Yeah, I don't think about blackout
Okay.
on the chat.
So now go to the supermarket and buy yourself plastic plates. You need it. Good morning.
Mr. Keshe, will we just need CO2 GANs?
You can have any GANs you like. You can have a GANs of your own blood. I tell you that'll come handy one way. But make sure you're the only person in the house. Any kind of GANs you have produced up to now is needed. If you have found or you can find from grandmother's lamp cable, it'll be good. Don't use shredded, what do you call it, wires. You know, the fine wires, the stranded wires. Don't use those. We don't see you have some problems with that. We need solid copper wires.
Do you have a preferred twist rate?
What
And
is a twist to do with it?
well, I noticed all the.
Oh, listen on one day. If I have a twist, I tell you.
Well, I wanted to get nano coating. I can't wait to get started on this project.
Find yourself a single cable, not multi-share. Because then you have advantages, then you have disadvantages. At the moment, the way we do, we use a single cable. I'll tell you something. If enough of you produces enough, you will see the governments will cry. Cry of joy that they don't have to import any more fuel, and the oil producing countries will cry because they can't do anything. We need internationally to produce 500 million across the world in the coming 12 months to start seeing a rapid change. It means one every 6 person, or sorry, one every 12 people will have a unit. I've geared up the Keshe Foundation manufacturing in Italy to 3 million per month. We can produce here in Italy 30 to 60 million units in the next 12 months, and we increase it because then the health unit comes out and the other unit comes out. Our team, the manufacturing team, very nice, very powerful engineers. They have foreseen. We already have the properties and everything has all been done. While they were trying to damage us, we've been building in the background. And it's been done. So on Monday, the first 1,000 goes out. The following week, 10,000, and we geared up for 3 million a month. If the demand comes, and we see it there because till the Germany, France, and the rest of the nations do, Keshe Foundation Italy will be the only one. As you build up, we reduce our production. But on the other hand, the other units come in. On the second week of November, we released 10,000 pens. In November, we released 6,000 pen pads, the new version with a full capability for every disease. So you have 10,000 pen, second week of November, maybe even the first, you have 6,000 paint pads in Italy, and we expect 10,000 units per week, 100,000 by mid to the end of November. We support worldwide all the Keshe Foundations, even if it means what we call, we share that we all get. Germany, France, Russia, Chinese went yesterday. They should be in line very quickly, Chinese Keshe Foundations, in the next 3 to 6 weeks. We try to produce the casts for production, and the winding units will come from JF in Canada. Hopefully he'll be ready for us by then. So we have placed the first order for the first 20 winding unit, where when you want to do mass producing, the system produces the whole coil and everything else ready. All you need is to make your plates. The casting takes time, but here in Italy, we should be able to produce a large number of casts for the people who want to manufacture. They directly can put in the pressure, what do you call it, the injection molding, and do it. So you receive, what we receive, an invoice from the manufacturer, plus whatever you see good as a donation, you can pay to the foundation for everything. So it's full transparency. We have paid already 38,000 euro for our casts, for our plates, which is getting manufactured units. We estimate the same. If we see a large number of people ordering, maybe we can come to the manufacturers with a reduction. We give you our bill. The way we release the bill for Dirk today for 300,000 using our systems, our advertising board, we release the bill from the manufacturers to the people who want to buy it, and you can pay us, and if you want, you can make a donation for what we've done or is done by the factory side. This is the way we start working. This is the way. These 20 units will go to Africa very directly. It's been bought for mainly to go into different nations in Africa that we can bring it out, because they can come up with a copper. Have you lost us again? It happens
Yeah.
these days. So the Keshe Foundation in Mexico will send.
Yeah, I think we need a backup system there, Mr. Keshe. We lost you again.
We have set a very simple structure, and there are people within the structure who look after this. If you want to be agents just to sell, write agents at spaceshipinstitute.org. If you want to be a manufacturer, you write manufacturers. Pardon? Can you put those up, please, on the screen that we can see? So, and if you want to set up Keshe Foundations in your country, go to Keshe Foundations at spaceshipinstitute.org. These are set up. Then when it comes, there are people who are responsible for it. The manufacturing is head by Armin. The distribution goes to Ella. She's joining us on a full-time basis in the next couple of 3-4 weeks. And she's already handling all your orders in the background. And then the foundation is handled by Brett in the United States. So you have people that we can respond in what you want to set up. We have set up a very straight structure. Due to what we saw, what we call enemies of the foundation were trying to do to us in Europe, we made it very clear. We carry 51% of the share. Controlling share stays with the foundation or in my name personally, that then, according to my will, all goes to each nation, which means no one can ever sell, and we don't see the coup d'etat we saw today, closing somewhere which we had a shareholding given to us by deception when we gave the technology. This way cannot repeat itself. People cannot close because we're a major shareholder, we control it. So what we saw as deception in Omega Quantum will not happen, and now you see the reason. Keshe Foundation stays major shareholder, nobody can touch. And the shareholding will be transferred to the Keshe Foundations from the so you see how we have set everything up because we've seen what's going on in the background. As I explained, we're closely working with a lot of governments in the background. We're working with a lot of lawyers and bankers to make sure that everything is done is a correct way. And if we make a mistake, we still have to find out whether we can correct it. So it's there, distributors as a spaceshipinstitute.org, manufacturers as Fisher, and national Keshe Foundations, keshefoundation.org. Don't forget, Keshe Foundation is registered as its own email. We are a registered foundation and we've been authorized, so we use our own foundation as a server reference point of view as URL. It's not a .com, it's not a .org, it's a foundation. So you understand everything we do has a reason, and you understand why we carry 51% everywhere, that we don't see the deceptions of what we see. Whatever is made in each nation will go to the Keshe Foundation of that nation. If we recall for help, we tell you what it's for, then we give you why we need it and where we need it, then the Keshe Foundations can respond. As you know, my books has been translated by the Chinese authorities into Chinese language. The first book should be released in the coming weeks. All the incomes, all the royalties from that, what do you call, print from the university goes directly to the Keshe Foundation China because it's created by the Chinese in China. So we get paid something like €1.20 per book, which they sell. That goes to the Keshe Foundation China to support the teachings and the teaching centers in China, now that they set the structure up. So do not expect to take money from one foundation to another unless we collectively work to support a position, a region, and the rest. And that has to be now Africa. Most of the organizations in the West, Chinese Keshe Foundations, the Chinese Foundation, we have to work to make sure this time we are all equal. So a large unit will go to Africa. There will be some abuse at the beginning. The ministers will give it to their sons and their daughters to have the energy free to their family. But we make sure to the Keshe Foundations reaches everyone. The reason I brought it up this way, that you make all the systems at home yourself if you want to, is that when you make things at home, you don't need to license it. When enough Italians make systems at home themselves, they don't need to take it to the authority. Can you license it for me? I want to use it myself. But you see the reduction in your power, reduction in fuel. How many of you Italians, I know a lot of you have done, you put the coil on your batteries and you've seen the reduction? Yeah, smile. I don't say your name, but yeah, you can smile. 30, 40%, 50% reduction in your fuel consumption. Am I correct? Yes. How many of you have written to your taxman to say, sorry, I've reduced my fuel? It's good. You're not paying that €1.40. Yeah. Yeah. And then if you do that 50 weeks a year, you can see the difference. This is in your pocket. This is what you save. But what you've done, you have taken 1,000 euro from the national government spending on the roads or paying for ministers 1 million a year to go to Brussels to be your representative. Now you see the game. If 1,000 Italians do the same, in the next year, your government is short by 1 million. And if 10 Italians do the same, if 100,000 Italians do, and then if 1 million Italians have the units, don't forget we are putting 3 million out a month, you can see how much is going to change the position of government. And this is only on taxation of fuel. We are not talking about your energy consumption. So, as I said, the change of the game is global. You got to realize something very interesting, very easy. 20 liter, 50 liters a week, that's 1,000. Don't count now that we supply the units to the trailers straight, to the camions and to everything else. The saving will be much more. Then you will see the reduction in the need for oil nations to export. The change is fundamental. When we produce, American Keshe Foundation produce, the Chinese Keshe Foundations go into 1, 2, 3 million a month, 10 million a month, let's say nationwide in the next 3 months, we produce 50 million across the Keshe Foundations and all the people private, and then you reduce the fuel consumption of the 50 million people in the houses by even, that is, you will understand how things are getting affected. 50 million people. If you reduce your fuel consumption by 10 liters a year by use of the system, and then by 100 liters, you will see what it is. Super tankers carry 1 million barrels of oil. 46% of the fuel is converted to what you use on the street, on a good conversion. So you say half. You talk about 2,500 less super tankers on the high seas. You got to look at the global structure. You're happy with one unit. And this is why we ask for world ambassadors to be there to see where the change is. The unfortunate thing is, if they kill me, there is already 30 blue units hanging around the world at the moment. Somebody will release it. We release it in 7 days' time anyway. So if world consumption drops 1 million barrels, not only everything has changed, I have walked into a trap of pleasure trap that you cannot imagine. No more pollution, no more worries about paying bills which you are charged totally for no reason, and no ransom taking. You don't pay, we disconnect your bill. Disconnect, please. As I explained, these people are so self-centered, they don't care if a child is hungry or has no heating or no water. They come and disconnect. Now you can tell them, please come and disconnect. Or actually you disconnect yourself, says, we give it to you, you have to use it. You will see how the government changed position in the next 6 months. After next week, I ask as many Italians as you know, tell them to place order with the Keshe Foundation or build one yourself before Christmas. If we can put 5 million units usable in Italy between the cars and the home, and each one of us reduce it by 20 liters, the Italian government will feel the pinch of 500 million less income very fast. And then the oil companies will do the same. And then people will have the power to dictate. You are short of money, stop standing on arms. The 500 million you're short, we don't need arms. Why should we pay from the hospitals? People will come agreement of peace, not governments. In next 12 months, you don't know what I've done to you. It will change everything the way all of you work together. Because this time you know you elected people, but they're there because you decided. When you stop 5 billion and then 50 billion of the budget, arms goes first. We can't spend our arm, our next door neighbor can't spend an arm, so we go disarmed. What's the next step of reduction? Useless politicians. Because now you decide on the internet how you to do it. Then it goes the ones who are the cause of conflict to keep their position. It's very easy. That's why we teach it next week like this. If they block us by Monday in any shape or form, I have set up that internet will be flooded with a blueprint. So the choice is we do it our way, we guarantee a correct conduct, and the ones who are misconducting, we give for this. So now you understand the third world ambassador will be the last world ambassador. Because now every one of you is ambassador of peace in changing it, and how much we can change together. The problem is not governments because they don't exist. And then we spend whatever is the surplus of time in developing a peaceful nation as one nation, one planet, one race, and a way to space. So, unfortunately, you all came to learn about plasma with it, and due to it, you brought the freedom to mind. Collectively, every member of the Keshe Foundation, every single one of you who came in and put a note somewhere, somebody read, they changed their position, they built the system. Every one piece now you see is gelling. 10 years, 20 years of work, a very hard work, a lot of hard work by the Belgians in the background, setting up the first center in Belgium, setting up the first center here in Italy. It's not just me, it's a lot of people. There's a lot of goodwill, a lot of people who've been there, done it. Now We all started with the promise of one, we have the energy unit, and then we create peace. Now collectively we have achieved it. There has been a lot of goodwill and support by the Iranian governments in the background of the Keshe Foundation. The national security of Iran has been with us solid. I thank all the national securities and the security services who support.
Just hold on one moment as the stream comes back.
I don't patent it. You want it, you come and take one. It have taken me millions of years to teach you how to do it. This way we all do it. Get in touch with as many people as you can. You're on the social network. Ask people to watch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Everything will be on the Keshe Foundation YouTube. Everything will be on the Keshe Foundation mainstream, forum and the website. The minute you come in, you can teach yourself. I will not give you a box and a blueprint from the day one. I teach you when there is no more question, and one by one of you start telling me that we made one, it's working and what it is, then we release the blueprint on Friday. But as I said, the first 5 days we learn correctly how to set it up, how to do it, how to not to do, or I'm sure a lot of you will tell us to do it differently, and we'll learn from each other. So what we promised, the roadmap for peace starts from Monday. We make it as one race without the need for the government. Go back, reassign yourself to World Peace Treaty and accept the World for Peace, the roadmap. And then we'll see how we go. Are there any questions? Somebody wrote, Keshe has started a pyramid to defraud. I started a pyramid of knowledge that everybody defrauds the ones who say they want to defraud them. It's a beautiful pyramid, 7 billion involved.
Mr. Keshe, I compliment you on getting everyone involved in building a power supply next week. I think that's very important that we all report back to the foundation on what our experiences are, because that's going to help it grow in the right way. We may find many things that improvements and stuff before things get too far along. And is everybody?
It has to go different ways. We can't decide what is too far gone. We were told last week on one channel through satellites, there were 1.7 million viewers. We are reaching millions. If you look at the YouTube channel of the third world, the third world ambassador meeting, in one channel it's already past 100,000, and then sub, with so many other people putting it up. We have already reached millions. We see it in the number of applications which are coming in for supplies. We see the number of applications which is coming for being a student. But now we start the final push. We put a position that is already on a forum. You can put your comments. You can come and read what is wrong, what you've done, what is correct, and we follow it through. The only thing which stops now human race to go into the final phase is the man himself.
Mr. Keshe, someone, Guinevere asks, if someone is able to find a Nigerian TV channel to give you time to talk via Skype or any other channel, will you be available for it?
Yes, all the communications, all the interviews are handled by K1. K1 is responsible for the interface between media and the foundation. organize it through him. There is a discussion at the moment between Caroline and K1 that instead of giving so many interviews one at a time, we make a time for all once a week or every 2 weeks, that we can cover most of the people, because we are receiving interview requests from different organizations. And for me, I'll be spending more time giving interviews to these people than the teaching. Maybe we can do the interviews for media like this on one day live. So we give
Okay.
interview time to the media live on the Zoom. They can ask questions and everything else.
I think that's a really good idea. Is there a web address or somewhere that such news agencies can get a hold of the Keshe Foundation?
I think
Maybe just at the
we
webmaster
use,
at Keshe
I
Foundation
think we
or
gotta
some
put
other
media.
address?
I think is a media, or Vince has to go to make it media at Keshe Foundation or the Spaceship Institute. And anybody has a request, put it, they can, what do you call it? As you've seen with the arrangement of the presentation, Ella and K1 handle that side very quickly. We need to collectively spend more time on developing than actually on anything else. But we need the media to inform more people what is there to do. So we need to organize one session just for the media, but on Zoom that way they can see things, they can explain, they can everything. Most probably 100 of them will ask 10 questions the same. So if you make it and put it on the screen, yes, Nigeria is our prime point, because Alex is already in Nigeria setting up the Keshe Foundation research centers and the rest of it. He's been there a week. I think the way I see it, he'll immigrate back to Nigeria to make sure every Nigerian has enough. He's that much, he's got such a great heart. We've seen the same with Benjamin. Benjamin has changed a lot of things in Ghana in the past 3 weeks he's been there. And in any shape, in Africa, we cannot send mercenaries, we cannot send scientists. We have to open the channels of the teaching in Africa through media and internet. That's the easiest way to go. We had a huge setback with the stupidity of that guy bringing the live stream down, that now we reset everything, that from the beginning, everybody can go into it. A lot of knowledge seekers were telling me, or I heard, even last night before I leave, that the teachings from the 7th of October are not available after. But apparently they are. They've been moved to a new site without you knowing. Vince, do you want to explain that? Because you got a lot of people on the teachings. Where is it moved to? That the people are there while they're transferring. Yes, we did, Mr. Vince. Thank you very much. So this is what's happening. This is part of the growth. We brought new people in, especially like Carlo. That's they're going to bring set up new directions in webs that makes it easier. I will see a smiling face. You're happy? The whole world is happy. So the situation is we are not just expanding and changing in the research. A lot of things in the background are changing in respect to servers websites, and the rest. Kevin will respond to any media, any interviews, any documents you want from media will be handled through that section because it's easier now. Hello, we are back. Can you say you said thank you for something and we lost after the thank you? It's a huge task. They did a very good job with the embassies, and we'll see the people who've been around the Keshe Foundation in different ways. Now they take different part of the responsibility of running the Keshe Foundation as it's becoming an international organization. You see it now. We run more or less in major government countries, which is governed under different rules, but we work as one as a Keshe Foundation. Are we joining Chinese as we promised them? Are they in the background? Or have they given up on us?
Hello. Hello. Hear me? Yeah. I'm here. I'm here.
Are you still having your conference or have you finished?
It's done. It's all done. And today they come here and they feel free to get around to look at different devices and new design of different coil, cosmetic energy system.
Can we see them?
No, we don't have we don't have the camera here
Ah. When
for
will we
now.
have the camera?
Yeah, maybe I need to take a laptop.
Half an
Wait
hour, minutes?
Yeah, for a few seconds. You need to launch it, in another laptop.
Okay, you can't show anything to us today?
Yes, we don't have anything to say, but we come here for the making paper fly.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, we are listening. Thank you very
Yes,
much for
yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Can you teach us how to make the paper fly? We have the person and the reactor here. Hello?
Yes. What
Hello?
did you say? We're hearing.
Yeah. Can you teach us how to use our mind to make the fabric fly?
Yes.
For now. Hello?
You want it now?
No. You can choose a time. You need to
No problem.
arrange another time.
No problem.
Okay. Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Thank you indeed.
Okay.
Do we have Renan online from Philippines?
Hello, sir. Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Renan. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
What do we have new from Philippines?
Yes, sir. Right now for the manufacturing, the inventory for complete production is already here, and the units, the first 10 units that was tested already, will be completely assembled with all the casings. So we did all the quality inspections on the coils, and we did some upgrades on the coil making with the new updates that you have put on it, how to make it more stronger using the guns. So we integrated it also to the production units. So we have different shapes, different forms of it because we are utilizing different casings. So we have plastic casings, we have metal casings. So it's a variety of different, as we tested how, but the system inside is still the same, only the casings. So it will,
Huh?
sir.
I said it's like human. We are all the same inside with different color and sizes outside.
Oh yeah, it will be like that. Different colors as well.
What is the position with your pens? Are you
For the pens right now, sir, we are distributing it here locally. So I having trouble yet for any importation because exportation is expensive here. So when you order few pens,
hello?
and we need. Hello, sir. Can you hear?
Yes, I said what
Okay.
happened to your pens?
Oh yes, the pens here are we're already starting to market it in the Philippines. But for the international, we are having difficulty for the shipment.
What's the problem? You can't find the ship?
No, for the mostly the cost of shipment out exporting here for small packages are expensive, but we will find not yet. We will use it soon. We will use it soon, sir. When we can directly go to that specific area, we're just training first.
No problem.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll be having another forum this November. We've been invited by a university here in the Philippines that we will give a forum for the engineers. So there will be more invitations for forums in different schools here. So we'll be jumping around the country this coming months.
It'll go hopefully today.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
hopefully. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any other questions? We have a question from Mr. Ali. What? Totally in about 3-4 weeks. We are working on it. It's not easy. I know how to do it. The people who are working on it have to understand how it works. Okay. Any other question?
I advise them to take a look on the 80th workshop, but if there's anything else that you wanted to add, then maybe now you could add
Regarding to what?
to the quake on the U.S. coast. the
I
split up of the
have
continents?
noticed that somebody has taken an extract from a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, workshop teaching, open teaching, and they have isolated 7 minutes of it regarding the earthquake in South America. And I think it's passed already 500,000 viewers in past few days.
Yes, Mr. Kish, I was actually going to tell you, you are already on mainstream internet in Austria with that part.
What do you mean mainstream?
Well, mainstream, like like huge numbers of audiences are looking into there's an internet channel from a newspaper. They have a they have a newspaper called Austria or Österreich, whatever it's called, and they have a OE24 internet site, and you're actually already mainstream on with that exactly with that excerpt where you were talking about the continental drift, the earthquakes and tsunamis and everything. With your name, I can send it to you if you want. It's in German, so it's going to tell you
I
that.
hope
Yeah, it's gone
the
to.
power supply than the earthquake. So
Yeah,
we have
they're more interested in the earthquake.
Pardon?
They're more interested in the earthquake. It seems there is a lot of connections that have come up. For example, in India, there was a newspaper there that picked up that article, and a couple of other ones that are not quite mainstream, but semi-mainstream, sort of between fringe and mainstream. And yeah, it got picked up, but I don't see a
Yeah,
lot
but
yet
there's not
on
much
the
we can say.
energy. Yeah.
There's not much can be said about this situation. It's a disaster, which is not a disaster. It's another part of the life of this planet. When I explained there is such a thing might happen, we saw the first moves within the first 2 weeks. The process has started. The biggest problem was the release of the South American continent from one of the what I call the blocking spots. And with the 8.3 earthquake in west of Chile, that block is partially released. We saw, as I explained, the change in continental shift. Somebody wrote, the guy doesn't know what he's talking about. If I know that much that I can 2 weeks before warn you is going to happen, it means you haven't even understood. So you use us to confirm your meager existence. So that's your decision. If this is the American continent, roughly, and the coast of Mexico, roughly, whatever you look at it, you have a pin. This pin was at a Panama point. And then we saw rapid movement, specifically in this point in Panama. And we saw the Chile movement, and before it was that. This was released. You got to remember, these solid pieces of what they call continent are sitting on a lava movement, which lava at a specific level is very much like what you make your nano coating when you release the matter just before melting. So they carry huge gravitational magnetic field on them. And if you understand the position and the movement, you understand very quickly that you don't read the earthquake mainly from the structure of above, you read the earthquake from lava and the central gravitational field of the earth. So this is where the problem has been sitting. In so many ways, there was a South American continent was locked from moving. This is part of the old and the new interacting underneath. This lock is released. This disaster is not a disaster, but this separation of the two continents with the three, just go on the what do you call it, earthquake map. You see 3 earthquakes simultaneously in Panama happened this week. If you look at it, it was like this. They're all around about 5.4 to 6 something in this area. more or less the same time. So when it's released, the move came and you've seen it. So the continents is moving, separation has started, and just go on the earthquake map. In those days, you see how these three came with this, and within that time. What happened? This separation, there is a small piece here, which is like a crust that's going to separate from America. So you give a small, what I call island in the future. This stays. This plate is moving this way. This plate in balance moving that way. And then what happened around what we call the circle of fire, because this movement took place, we saw huge, rapid earthquakes in Malaysia and East Asia. Because now it wasn't just this, the whole thing has moved, the whole thing is responding, and in the coming months, maybe 12 months, 18 months, we will see a total separation, beginning of the total separation. And then that will bring itself huge earthquake, because this is very much like peeling an orange. This piece, when it separates from United States main or North American main continent, this will release everything which you've been waiting for in California. And anything for up to 20 is imminent.
Just hold on as the
Right.
stream comes back again.
This is a huge mass, and it's taken millions of years. The biggest problem is if this separation we see, if you start seeing a lot of earthquakes like Panama, it means it's time to move. We've seen the first three. If at the point of the contact of Panama, we start seeing huge number of earthquakes, small, big, whatever, it means then you put the clock on about 12 months maximum for the major earthquake. Just keep an eye, because the hinge is in Panama. Panama is releasing. It's literally sitting on the hinge of it. When it moves, when it's released, it needs, it's like a pins to be taken out, and it's imminent. And then you will find out the pressure will damage a lot of Mexico, Gulf of Mexico, southern coast of Texas, and that kind of areas, because they have to respond. There is a possibility even Florida might move from the pressure. Because what's going to happen, the two sides open up. I said to a guy from Panama, in the crisis of Belgium government trying to assassinate us, government being aware of other great nations, one of the senior security officers came to us and said, the government of Panama has given you sanctuary. If you want to move to Panama, we protect you. And I could not tell the guy what I see in Panama. We get a lot of collaborations from different governments. And this position is extremely, you got to, those kinds will give the indication of that bigger, but the Panama Peninsula is when the two oceans or the Pacific and Atlantic will open up naturally to each other. This is just a process. This area, there is a possibility, if there's a huge possibility, if there is a slight change on this side, literally when you have Africa and Europe, if we see a rapid volcanic or earthquakes in Western Europe, then immediately if we see those pre, it means the southern continent has literally the shift is completed. Then imminent within 30 days to 60 days, you will see 20 plus earthquakes. This, you got to observe anything happens on there because the continent, the way it pushes against the main European, not into the African. Spain, Portugal, we see earthquakes. If we see those, it's the pressure underneath which is moved. The snap is there. California is totally gone. California will open because it's part of the skin. That's why you have that crack. If you look at it, the spread will come very much this way. And then it cuts into what you call Arizona on that side too. But mainly because now a new island will be established. And then this pressure will put pressure on New Zealand. You got to watch this earthquakes on the west coast of Europe. If it doesn't happen, it means the movement is not that big. But if you get a lot of earthquakes here, it means there's a new movement. It's just literally hinged up. If you look at it, all it's going to do is just going to go this way. And if it's too much, the pressure is on Northern Europe. We've seen it. We're 100% on course. It's just a matter of how much we can create here and what we can observe. The only thing you got to watch is not mainly here. We expect 8.9 to 10.7 on the California, something around about 14 on this side, and then you see here 5.8 to 6.9. I've done some calculations recently, that's why I can give you the figures. Because this is a heavy continental move, but because it's very narrow, we'll push in that way. Then you will see the same. This will push into the what do you call it, Nepal and everything else because it opens up. We'll see huge number of earthquakes in China, Nepal, Iran, into Turkey. They're all connected. If you look underneath, that's why they call the Panja, because it's a structure is that way. If this happens, we'll see huge number of earthquakes around the world. And the faster we can get the power units intact, distributed, available, the faster we can meet this disaster when it comes. This is inevitable. It's taken billions of years. It just happened to be our time. No, it's not a prophecy. This is a physical interaction. This is not this. I'm not a prophet. I don't prophesize anything with this. This is reality of understanding the motion of magma, gravitational field, magnetic field of the Earth, the mass. If you look, continent of US cannot move because it's locked with the European and the Asian continent. So the weakest is giving away. That's why. Because they are locked, they're solid. It's just a push. We might even see in Central Europe rise in the mountains by at least 5 to 10 centimeters as the continent's getting pushed. It pushes, they'll come up.
And then that also increases like the super volcanoes like Yellowstone and the one in China. Does that also put pressure on them?
It's all part of the same process.
That's right.
This is now is part of, now the cycle hasn't started. The worst thing was what I predicted, a large, what do you call it, earthquake on the west coast of Chile. That was where it was locked. Earthquakes get connected between matter states in different depth, like a pins. When the pin goes, now it's loose. Just watch this. This is the most important part and Western Europe. The rest is the consequence of. It shows if you get a huge earthquakes on the European continent in the next 12 months, 24 months, means the South American continent has moved quite a lot because that's what it creates the pressure underneath. And then in the future, it moves itself. Most of the governments cannot handle it. There is not enough in any government to handle what is a shift of continents. It will settle. In 10 years' time, 20 years' time, it won't be there. We know this was imminent, is going to happen because part of Northern Europe has become new earthquake zones. Like north of Italy has become new earthquake zone. 5 years ago, there wasn't there. It's been added since 2005 onto the map because the pressures underneath are moving the mountains up. So everything is getting adjusted. What happened? What's the discussion? Translate?
I will speak in Italian.
Mr. Keshe, how far do you think the second sun is in astronomical units right now?
Has to stay between 2 to 30 years. It is very, very, very clear when there is no cloud. We see it. You already see the second sun. If you look into the skies and you understand the movement, you will understand the position of the second sun. It's very, very close, but it still needs the time, depends on the field forces around there.
Around the solar system. Both of them.
Into the center that makes this so narrow that the interaction is zero. What it looks, Earth is the, or what they call our sun, is the heavier part, or at least is in the direction of the sister sun. The sister sun, it looks like as it's behind us, but it could be the reflection we see.
Is it below the plane of the Earth and the sun?
No, you see it straight in. You see the straight in. It's right in front of you. If you know what to look for, it's on the horizon, Northern Europe. You clearly see it.
It's beyond the sun. Is in relation
beyond,
to the Earth, right?
beyond the sun. It's outside, it's billions of kilometers away. What you see is effect. You see is murky, dusty shape with its moons. It carries moons with it. It's not a single, what do you call it, single structure. It carries satellite like Earth. It's got planets on it. You clearly see the planets inside the structure. This is very, very, very clear. You see, it's exactly, it looks like to have at least quite a number of Earth is part of the solar system, planetary, and this carries its own planetary system because you see them. You see the lights inside the structure. You see the interaction of the sun magnetic field with the planetary system. It's very, very clear.
It's not in view at night, of course, right?
I will show you to you one day when you are ready and you don't panic.
I have a 12-inch reflecting telescope, but it's not any good if it's only visible during the day. You get blinded by the sun.
I will explain when the time is right. Let us go through with the development of the maglev system that we bring the position, and then as you know, we are teaching the development of the plasma without the matter condition for flight, and then we'll see if there is a need to be worried about such a position. Any other question?
Okay, I've got a very interesting observation, and it'll lighten things. I call it the flying banana. I took some barbecue ashes and put them in a plastic bucket and added some water. So I've got a caustic. And then I noticed I didn't eat my last banana and it had fruit flies all over it. It had gone and it was oozing out and everything. And I had all these little fruit fly maggots on the bottom of it. So I dropped the banana on top of these wet ashes in the garage. And I come out the next day and the banana's not in the bucket anymore. It's beside the bucket on the floor right next to the bucket. It must have lifted itself out and then landed on the floor next to it.
Are you sure you put it in the bucket?
Absolutely.
And you're sure there's no little animals in your garage?
That's always a possibility, but I think it's highly unlikely because the door was shut in the garage.
But if you had a caustic, it's very simple. You create, maybe, possibly, try it again. You created a lot of pressure when you drop the caustic. You know, when we put things start boiling, it has kicked it out. Possible.
I have a
Don't know.
theory.
We were not there and we were not the banana, so we can guess a lot of things.
I have a theory that all the live organisms, all those little maggots in there, they were all in peril, and all of them together somehow caused the plasma to release them.
I don't know. We asked the maggots, I presume, but we got to see.
They may not be very happy right now either.
Yeah, I kind of regret it now, but it was all in the name of science.
Any other question?
Yeah, I got a question.
Who's that?
Hello? Hello?
Hello, yes, who's speaking? Hello.
Hello?
Yes, who's
Yes, we
speaking?
can hear you. Go ahead. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Hello.
We're playing
I
the
think
hell
that's
of it.
Annabelle. I think he's having
Hello.
trouble with the system. Annabelle, we can't hear you. No, it's
Can you hear
cutting
me
in. Kind of. It's cutting in and out.
now?
It's cutting in and out.
Oh,
Try again.
well,
Now
my
I can.
question was related, it's about the unit. Do you copy what I'm saying?
Yes.
What?
Yeah, just to know if the unit, the Magra power unit, is designed specifically for energy production, or can be used for other purposes like a plasma source for further research or production of materials and stuff like that. That's my question.
I think you missed the point. In time, different maggraph systems will deliver different things.
Oh, okay.
Next question. What's the time, please?
There was a question.
Oh.
What happens during a power blackout with the system?
I presume we'll be blacked out. But we are, as I said, we're developing a new, one is a battery and one is a power generator on its own. This is a few weeks away, maybe a few days away. There is a way you can produce a power generator.
We heard there are ways you can produce a power. There are ways you can produce a power generator. believe.
Yes, the power generated by plasma. This is our target.
Okay, we'll go line by line. Power generator by plasma is our,
Rick, do you hear me?
yes,
Okay, like first. Welcome. Because
yes,
this is from United Kingdom. Um, the problem will be, or the problem is, to create at the moment we have this position that the power unit connects to, what do you call it, to the main. As I said, we don't use the main. We use the pulses of the main to create a condition that the plasma inside the unit releases itself, and then you collect it, whatever is done. And strange enough, whatever you don't need, you give back to the grid. We did a test. In one test where we pushed the high power in here, we go up to 8 times more than what we take from the grid. In other tests, we sit around about 5 or 4 times. I asked the question, I will answer you by next Friday, that haven't we been looking the wrong way in the whole structure a few days ago? And indeed, we've been looking the wrong way. We have a very powerful generator, but we didn't look at it the way it should have been done. And now, as I said, 5 plus, and I reckon we didn't have any more to put on. We know 5.4 is maximum at the moment because we don't have any more power systems to add. If you get more heaters and cookers and God knows what, I think 15 from what we've seen before to 20 kilowatt will be normal. There are a lot of things you have to notice. We teach you next week as you develop it. So one of the problem we have is this. You don't need a signal generator. You need a plasma demand generator. It's a very big difference. When this we saw last term, the release of massive energy we saw last term, but I explained that, I think, to Marco and Armin in a very different way, and maybe now we can explain it and talk about it. We were running a system near a plug, and this system was creating, and there was another system in the background running, that what happened, the system took a jump and entered the mainstream power supply of the building. You remember? There were 2 people who were there. And what happened? This always happened over the weekends when there was nobody there. During the week, we walked around, we did things in the lab, it wasn't that bad. But during the weekend, the field supply was so much that we used to black out. And all we had was a connection to the same plug. And when the electricians came, all the problem came from one plug, but we couldn't tell them why. Do you remember, Marco? And I said, the problem is our system. We are putting so much in that the system can't take. So the problem is to create a plasma signal, not a single signal generator. When you release power into the system, If you remember, we said to you, and you'll see it, you nanocoat the material on the grid on the side of the government, because the vibration of the plasma will force the vibration of the electronic separation into nanostructure and creates the phase feedback. Now we're looking to make a phase feedback. If you can create a phase feedback and you can create a small power supply with it, you get rid of the grid. Then we put a unit inside, or we extend the height to accommodate for this. These units are built in a way that we can stack them vertically too. They sit inside each other. So if we've seen we need, and this needs anything over 50 hertz in the electron or 4,000 in the plasma level. This is a part of the process which we are looking, maybe in next couple of weeks we reach it. We have already achieved most of it. It's just somehow caging it. Today there's more tests getting done, and we see where we're going to go. So our problem is not creating a generator. Our problem is creating a plasma signal generator. Then we'll do the same job. Don't forget, when you feed back on a plasma, you interact with the plasma of the electrons and protons. You don't interact with the matter. So generators are in horizon. I mean, it's there. We can do it with a slight difference, but at the moment, most of the energy has gone into making sure the power units deliver what they are. You got to make sure, by the way, you don't have thin wires. You need thick wires, because the power should be able to be carried by the wires. You can't use very fine wires. These wires are not strong enough. If you do these 8 gauge wires, seems to be perfect. If you use thin wires, then you get a short circuit, because the power is too much at the interface. We don't do, once the power enters the box, we are not dealing with the matter state anymore. Everything is in the plasma state. This is the problem. This box at the point of entry and exit is matter state. From the time you enter the release of plasma, you don't see any matter. Cannot be. So that's why you have this problem. So what we're doing, we're trying to create a plasmatic generator, and unfortunately, signal generators, phase shifters in the matter state don't work with plasma. We have tried it. Any other question?
Yes, I have a question.
Who's that?
This is Kal-El from America.
Yes.
Uncle Keshe, I had a question about the containment of plasmas inside of a containment of free plasmas with plasmas, and how you can turn the plasmas inside out. I just wanted you to elaborate on that, if you could.
Can you explain what you're looking for, what you're trying to tell me?
When you talked, I believe it was in the 82nd or the 83rd edition, you were talking about the ability and non-tangibility to turn the plasmas inside out and to contain a free plasma inside of a plasma.
That I will teach you when the time comes.
Okay.
Because you release energies which are not much desired, but in so many ways, part of this box That's why I brought it up. Uses that. You see it, you don't understand it, but the way the structure of the we structure the interior of the system is to continuously turn a plasma inside out, but with a control. You will see it. If I remember, I explained to you. When I asked to make what I call the structure you see inside of it, that turning of the plasma to release energy at any level was a prime concern. All you do, you allow the plasma to open up one shield and it closes. But you got to know what you are doing and what level you are releasing it. What you do primarily is this is your plasma. And you will understand if you can open this and don't allow this to follow, but close this, that it means increasing the power of the gravitation, which means you take from the lower, then you find out in a very rapid way the two somewhere have to come together, or they interact with another field. And if you can make this the right way, what do? You peel it, and then you add from the next one to it. So you open it, you can't go all the way, and then you close it. You can only do this, you play this game only with a magnetical, because gravitational always centers itself. So when you start what I call peeling an orange of the plasma, you can only do it with a magnetical. So you pull the magnetical, you add or take away from gravitational, and then you see it opening and closing. This is part of what we are looking for in the oscillation, but it does not fit into, because part of this thing is matter state. Any other question?
I had one more, and it was concerning something that I happened in a dream, and it was about that basically that everything is plasma. So if we were looking at say the process of Gantz making, we're turning the plasmas into monatomic or singular plasmas, singular suns. Now, what I was thinking was, would not our fingers and our head, as well as our legs, would that not be a slower plasma that is emanating out from the source, the same as a Gantz?
I don't understand. Can you explain your dream?
Okay, Uncle Kesh, you came to me in my dream.
Call me Uncle Kesh.
Okay, okay. You came to me in a dream and you said to me that it was all the same. It was all the same.
Everything is the same. Everything in the structure of the plasma is the same with every plasma. It's just that at what strength you operate. Are you operating in the magnetical or gravitational? And which part of it? See, something you might not have understood. If you take from gravitational, what happens?
You gain magnetical?
You get magnetical. Two similar poles, what does it do? You lose this. So if you want to go to higher order, energy release, especially in a flight. I've devised a system is getting developed for this control system. You just do this, and I explained this a few times before. This magnetically repulsion is the only tool you have. Because when you do gravitational, the minute you bring the gravitational, the gap closes. Don't forget, I draw it like this, but in fact, even if you look at it this way, two opposite polarity, they sit extremely close to each other. Go back in one of the drawings before. The closer you go, the more powerful, the tighter the pack, because you have two different polarities. Here to have two similar. This similar polarities which creates a gap between this and this and this and this. You want to release a rapid amount of energy in your coils. Play with your magnetic. You want to give energy to somebody who's lost energy, increase your magnetical, because that's the only way you can give it to them. Reduce the gravitational. A lot of you have built a lot of these coils and pens in a rush to see if it works. Now the gold rush is over. Start understanding. I explained part of it in the past couple of days in the teachings, and now you understand a little bit more of it. Some of you are very catching up with understanding. When you're making these things, it's not just rushing and making a coil. Turn off the coil, direction if you make the coil and end comes to it, or if you make a coil and you leave it open. Are you using to release a cancer cell, or are you using them?
We
You'll
lost
see
you at, are you using coils or are you using?
just coils. The coils, the way you do it. Yeah. To release a cancer cell, you have to decide if you are giving energy or you're taking energy. You got to understand these things. People who rush and say, I did it, it didn't work, it means you don't watch for the detail. When you make a system of a balance, when you make your gravitational system inside, is it left-handed or is it right-handed? Is your coil left hand to the right or the right to the left in respect to what you're trying to do? Is the end of your coil is totally closed or is it an open coil? You not just go, I made a coil, oh, it works very good. Did you use a copper or have you used two coppers and aluminum? Is it the genetic defect you want to correct? Are you tipping it with phosphor? Are you nano coating and then GANS coating with phosphor to change genetic defects? The game is, I mean, the rush is over. Now you got to start understanding details. When you make the pads, when you make the paint pads, when you have cancer sections, whatever, your magnetic pads or even your pen pads, the bars you put in, is this fossil connected to change? Is this emotionally connected? Is this physically connected? Can you GANs coat them in different way? You can touch any, it's so simple, less than 10 cents. The clever idea is you cannot harm, because body only takes if he needs it, and he only gives if he wants to give. If you put the emotion and rest, the body does the physical exchange, it gives. Remember, if you deal with anything, sort out the emotion first before you touch the physicality. When you shake hand with someone, look at their hand. How do they do? You see a lot of women who've been abused sexually or emotionally, their fingers tend to be like this. They shake hand with you, but they're like this. Very bad ones I've seen like this too. You look at the hand. If you're a giver, you always exactly what I showed you there. It goes away. You have no attachment. The more you give, the more you receive. So what do? You have to see. With the physical structure of people, you know what and how you have to make a coil for them. You lot make a coil and put it, okay, it transfers energy. But if you're dealing with the specific conditions, you have to build your pens for that. You'll find in the coming time, we'll have masters in all sorts of pens. You got a cancer, such and such a guy makes a very good pens for cancer because now he realizes what is good to twist. When you have a cancer of breast, it's always one way or another connected to calcium. You have to consider calcium on your pens because you're making to affect calcium. Because majority of the cases, the cancer comes from the calcium, which comes from the bone marrow into the breast for full nourishment for a child. If you're dealing with a lymph in the liver, then you see which part of the liver is the cancer sitting. You lot has got a liver cancer, now we gotta go for it. Doesn't work that way. Each section of the liver is responsible for storing certain materials. You look, what is responsible? What is affected? The pin you make has to be that way. So you make your pain pads like a toilet roll. This is your best pain pad. Your biggest organ can't be thicker than this, more or less. Take it off. When you stick it, this is good enough for reaching most of the part of the liver. What do? You put, what is the liver for? It's the storage for physical part material. Very little emotion, but operated through emotion, which is the blood. So what do? Somebody wants to stand up. You remember Eminem? Stand up. So hold it up. What are you going to do? When you covered your nanomaterials, what it is, making GANs is an art you will learn. You become a specialized in it. Then you put pins of copper or aluminum across like this. I made one with Arman and Marco last week. We made 3, 4 for the emotional part, for the physical part. When you put this paper into the GANs, and then you put the pins, you decide if and where these pins sit on one part, doesn't matter what the man does with it. Then you close it, you fill it up with a gans of the material which is to be affected. There's the calcium deformation, is the emotional deformation. You put a cans of phosphor because you go to the genetic, close it, and all you need to do is, excuse me, thank you very much. You just put the body inside it. So your body sits in there. This is not an art. I've seen somebody saying, we have developed this technology, any disease, blah, blah. That's all it is. We made one for a very famous man last week. And what you need to wear it. If you take emotion, you have to touch the emotion. The body takes what it needs from point of. Nobody has developed something which will go and they manufacture in Singapore or China or somewhere else. This is the technology. You decide what is made, what it needs to be, what is concerned if it's too much energy with chemotherapy. You don't want to take all the energy of the chemotherapy because it's helping to dissolve cancer. But you want to take the surplus energy out that the lymph can pass through, as we had Dr. Van Docker yesterday with us. We were explaining before. So no one is a master. You make your own way with the things too. So you can make systems which affect calcium, you can affect zinc deficiency, cancer, anything. You decide on how you set these up. In the coming time, we'll create a chart. This is what you need, this is what you got. That's why we have a very nice lady joining us very soon, rest of November. So the process is to understand how you work it. A tissue paper, a toilet roll is the best size. If you're dealing with a femur or a big organs, use a kitchen roll. This is good. Just remember, this is the most important part. What you want to give or you want to take. If it's too much energy, you want to take out, what you got to do is to expose the taking on your pins that you're allowed to have exposure to give from the gravitation. When you make your pins, calculate everything. Is the calcium-based deficiency problem, or is it a copper deficiency? Is it a muscle, or is it something else? Does it need to be magnetical more, or does it need to be gravitational more? If it's a gravitational more, you make the gravitational inside longer than your magnetical outside. Now you have to start mastering the art. It's not just making a pin. A pin you buy in mass production is good for some diseases. But now you can literally acupuncture laser without even touching. In specific conditions, I explained yesterday or in the private teachings, you emotional condition, you tip the head in CO2. It means now you set a condition. CO2 is your condition. Lack of energy or different things, you tip it, CH3. Thursday. Okay, we're back. Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Hello, Vancouver. Where did I lose you?
About the last sentence or two, just another 5 or 10 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. What I explained, I don't know if you heard it or not. If you're dealing with a emotion, you tip the end of your bar, central bar, with CO2. If it's energy, you do CH3, because then you decide if it's too much energy you want to take, or is it too much energy you want to give. Making these systems now becomes an art. Then you go and you buy a system and you get everybody who's got a, let's say, diabetic, you all come to this hospital and you put a unit only balancing what is got needed for the diabetics. Why do you become diabetic? What's the reason for being? Or what you think you give enough, but you don't take back, so the body shows itself as a deficiency in the sugar. Understand why, the reason. Just don't go, I take your insulin. Why? Don't forget, you're a human race, human body, and human body has one operating system. Emotional, moving everything else. The rest is just functionality of moving this chuck. Everybody wants to go to get everything. Emotional section, chest and lung action is hundreds of times more than the physical, thousands of times. Where does it come? Why do you get cholesterol? Cholesterol is to do with physicality. Diabetic is to do with emotion. The energy, which it does, and how it does. And why is it connected to the pancreas? So you build a system which you wrap the emotional part to find its balance. You never use copper oxide here because there is no muscle tissue. You never use anything which connected with copper because copper is for red tissue muscle only. It's a waste of time and not be used. You have to realize how you change things, how you balance it. What's the decision? Why you have problems in breathing or problems in heart? How much of this actually manifests here unless it's physical due to environmental damages? We go into details. That's what I said. 1-year master course and the 3-year master courses is just extension of the emotion further and further into understanding more. You can stay here till your grandfather and grandmother. You still see there's a lot to learn. Any other question?
There is a question that keeps coming up, Mr. Keshe, which is is there a list of materials that people should have on hand for the workshops next week?
I just explained it. Latecomers, go to the beginning. It's good, it gives us more numbers at the front. These are how we work. You decide your own. Or shall we leave it till Monday? At least you come back on Monday. But as we already given you the list, we better repeat it. 14 gauge copper wire. You need caustic. You need GaNs material. You need picnic plate.
Plastic.
Yeah, preferably, at least it can hold weight. Not the flimsy ones, you know, the ones you throw away.
How about a power strip that you can splice into so you can hook it up to the grid and then have your load up?
I'm not going there, you decide. You need at least 2 meters of wire, good ones, heavy. You need a plug. You need what do you call the other end?
A receptacle.
A socket. And what else you need?
How about a voltmeter so you can measure amps?
That's your job. You need phase meter. You know, one of these things with a light inside it, you can see, you have to decide on the phase. It's very important because every single box we release has already phase meter in it. We hope. If you don't get it, it means it's cheaper for us. You have to use a phase meter. Marcus, no, I was there. They have one. There should be one in each one. When you open it, is the first thing you see on the top. You need a phase meter. And the ones who said he showed a lot of empty boxes, it's a blue one inside. So
Well, that's actually an electrostatic detector. So like in America, we've got a neutral wire, which is actually connected to ground. And then we've got a hot wire. And then in other countries,
you need to identify your hot wire, or we call it live in Europe, or what they call it in Italy, phase. We have different names for the same thing. The one which kills, that's what it counts. You got to find out you don't kill yourself. Actually, I heard in one of the tests in the governmental, the officials never understood. They just plugged it in and they blown one of the system up. One of the units has been blown up by the officials, not knowing, not understanding. It just blows up, nothing happens. When you open it, most probably at a point of contact between the matter and the plasma, the matter phase has, what do you call it, melted. All you need, there is no way you can damage this unit. Impossibilities. They melt, but they still work. Understand why. You have enough? Oh, yes. You need a sleeping bag, food for a week, and drinks. We're going to be here for a week. Now I understand why these systems cannot fail. When we did the original testing, I'll bring it up for you if I get a chance. Origin of this system was done years ago. And what it is when you put a copper, I do it in a way that you can see it in different colors. Thanks God we are not in the black and white era. This is the last time, hopefully, you see this board. Appreciate it. From now on, it'll be all electronic and it's not very nice to work on. It'll be a lot of tapping and color choosing. It's not like here I can choose this way. It's downstairs. One day it makes its way up. It all depends on the Italian. If they deliver a real small box next year, maybe. No, but it will be last days. This is your copper wire. And when you nano coat it, yeah, try to convince us Italians are good, Giovanni. They haven't delivered for 2 weeks. They are not going to deliver tomorrow or Friday. Whole week this week. Italians don't work when it rains. True, because the hair gets wet, huh? That's why there is no delivery. If it was a sunny day, it would have been here on Monday. We love them, we live with them. So what happened if you put too much at the beginning? This is like a child. You have to let it grow. So if you let the system run for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, everything gets nano-coated. You don't have this problem. But initially, when it's a matter and a nanomaterial, when you add the matter into it, you create a resistance. Nanomaterial is very strong. What happens? The matter state burns out, melts out. If you put a lot of pressure, pressure comes from the matter state resistance, this will melt. But what you'll find out, as it has nowhere to go, when it solidifies, it becomes matter again. Because your nanomaterials, nothing can happen to it. So, on the other hand, if you get a huge spark here, your nano coating goes away. But because the process of nano field already exists on the other, within a few days, you see it grows back up again. If you be careful with the system the first 2-3 months, that even this wire gets nano coated through the plasma process, you have a system for life. I was explaining this to Arab guy. He said it's like what Muhammad said, bless his name. Arabs, the minute they had a daughter, they buried her because having a daughter was no good. He said, keep them for 40 days. They make their way into your heart and you keep them for life. So now, all you need for 30 days or so, just be careful that this gets nano-coated and it finds its way into your heart and in your life. Because then nanomaterial interacts with nano. You don't have the interface change. But the biggest problem comes when your systems start nano-coating the grid. Possible, highly possible. Grids will be dismantled in a coming time. Let me explain to you why. National grid. Your wires go through, nano-coated, thunder and lightning, the best stuff is over. The minute we show you what to do, disconnect yourself from the grid. Energy surge will be massive. And most probably will go to the power station. It won't come to you because there's a bigger demand on that.
As with the indications by what do you want to call that? No voice or acting. Um, he's just changing his battery.
Well, for once, it's not the internet. Yes, it'll be very interesting to find out what happens during a power surge.
Can we get a couple of nano-coated batteries in there?
The nano coating will absorb all the power surge.
Plus, probably stop the RF signal, so that's why.
I was afraid it would boost it. Sure wish we could get the nano coating to do wireless communication thing so it would bypass the internet.
You're back. Put it on the charger. They've never been charged. You made a mistake.
Yeah, there was a question about the blackout.
It said the battery ran out again. There is something with the internet. Can you hear us? I think so. Okay. It's just the battery run out. It's just like the brain ceases to work. Okay, so what happened? The energy from the grid, the thunderstorms will have a direct effect on the mainstream. To what extent, we do not know, but we soon will know when the national governments start dismantling all the grids and giving you the material in them to build up your systems because they're no good anymore. This is a change, we'll see it. Don't forget, the nanomaterials are 100% absorbers of energy, at least to 9.999%. So we see a lot of changes. Very interesting. I was passing the other day in a car, and you've seen these tail, what do you call it? It's got a name. You got the right batteries. We hope. Fabio. It's like Italians. They deliver to you about the wrong thing, then you have to send it back again. He gave us the battery, but the ones which are not charged. So you've seen we have these plastic pieces we put on the back of our car to make connection between the earth and the car for thunder, whatever. What happened if we use a nano-coated materials? Would we get all the thunder coming to us because they absorb every energy? Or do we release them? Can we make these things that, in a way, because of their absorption property, we deviate from everything else? But there is another problem which is in the horizon. Now that you have the power units for the car and you nano-coat the skin of the car underneath, you become part of the thunderstorm energy. It's an interesting time to come. What do you think, Marco?
I think that might make 1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, but can you imagine yourself being fried? Or would a connection to Earth will control you, or it charges your battery very quick.
Well, you've got a conductor all around you, so you're pretty safe, just like an airplane.
So you have to make a plan when you do it. The power units will have two different way of connecting it, single cable or two cable. At the moment we see it as a two cable connection, which I was discussing it this morning even before I come here. We connect one to the engine and one to the battery, and we have seen much better performances. We've seen this before, where this way you use the total energy. Actually, there is a test done where people put small amount of the GaNs in the tank, and literally everything works in a very plasmatic condition. But what about if you put a piece of nanomaterial in your fuel tank? We don't tell you to do it, but we ask the question, what would be? Because I know some of you have already done, and some of you will do. You see, I was right. Italian outside the window, they stand against the wall. There is no rain. The hairstyle cannot change. So, correct? So, what you see and what is done is the total interaction. You have to start considering everything. Would the total structure, as we discussed before, creates a gravitational magnetic field that your system hovers in respect to the ground. We had already reports of this, at least in 2 or 3 occasions.
How would you use plasma to manifest a rainstorm?
Put a plasma in the air somewhere. That's where you got to understand in the coming time how things are done. Don't ask out of line questions, because that's you will understand how it will come into. Any other questions? If not, we see you on Monday at 10 o'clock. Bring as many people as you can. We have brought a satellite television organization here to get it to as many people as we can get it out. Please make as many as possible, as fast as you can. We try to lead up to 3 million a month. And then when the German and the rest in Europe become in line, don't forget, for the time being, Italian manufacturing is only till about 3 weeks, 6 weeks, the rest come into operation. So we try to meet the demand as much as possible. And we still keep our prices. We are not milking it, because then we can give more to the other nations to join the system. So don't forget that some organizations, some countries have the means, but they don't have the financial means to do it. We support them to produce it, which means. Pardon?
I said there is a question, which is, and I thought it was a pretty good one, which is, if the Maglev power system is hooked up via a generator instead of the grid, does the generator have any lens effect when the power is being drawn from it, or does it nanocoat the generator instead?
We've done that. It's been done. It works in 2 ways. This generator condition is for like villages where you have hundreds of homes, but one small generator. As long as it creates the 3-phase and nobody more or less uses any heating as such, the supply can meet. On the other hand, the power of the generator can change. You will see a lot of you will report something very strange. Armand felt it the first time he started using the cutting machine we showed in Rome. Your power tools work totally different. They work with much more power. You feel it. Anybody who has used like drills and generators, they tell you it's totally different. The car is different. The engine of the car, when you run it, is totally different. You will change. You will see the changes. You will tell us.
I can't wait to try a plasma cutter.
Plasma cutter.
Yeah, it uses a spark to start the arc, and then it
You
uses like
don't
90
need the
volts
arc
of current.
anymore. You just need to create enough plasma that the other doesn't exist. It's already in the
This is
plasma.
a metal cutter. It uses compressed air.
It's a different kind of plasma than Mr.
Different
Cash
thing.
talks
This is
about.
one of the patterns. You already put it how it's done. Any other questions, or shall we call it a day?
Well, there was a presentation from Vivek from Singapore who had presented the wires before, the twisted wires, the flower of life twisted wires, and wanted to talk about that some more and show some pictures.
We'll see that. No problem.
Okay. Let me get that set up here.
There is no.
Yeah, we've looked through it already, Mr. Kesh. I'm just going to stop your video so that we can do this screen share.
Okay, I'll promote him to panelist. Okay, Vivek, I think you should be able to talk and show your presentation, unless you want me to show it. I'm not sure.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, can
Hi.
you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Namaskar, Mr. Kesh. This is Vivek from Singapore.
Yes, go ahead. We are listening.
Do you want to share? Do you want to share your screen or show that presentation, or do you expect me to?
No, I will show the share screen.
Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Okay, very quickly, I just want to recap what was discussed last week in the 83rd Knowledge Seekers Workshop. This is what I showed last week, and Mr. Kesh gave some comments based on this design. This is the picture. He said that that this is not going to work because it's flat, it's 2D. And based on that, he gave advice on how to make it 3D and make it work, how to fold it up, and how the reactors would be formed, and how to nano coat it with two different processes using caustic and using.
Can I ask you a question before you go?
Yes, sir.
On the right bottom hand side, you got a KF sign. Next time, change
Yes.
it to FSSI, please.
Okay, sir. I will do that for the next
We have not been paid for promotion yet for this month. It's $300,000 outstanding. We don't want to do that.
Sorry, sir. I don't have that money.
I've cut it from the live
let
stream.
Advertising for them, they have it. So,
I've cut it off the live stream, Mr. Kesh, and so I didn't know that was on the corner there. Forgot about that.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so sorry about that. Okay, so based on the suggestions that Mr. Kesh made, what I did is I came up with a new layout. The old layout, I laid it out from right to left. This new layout goes from left to right. And again, the colors show how the wires are crossing one another. This is made from a single piece of wire. Now, for the next slide, I'm going to show, this is not exactly what I want to show, but I just want to explain the thought process that I went through to arrive at the latest design. Okay, so I created a number of units over here, but I was still not happy with what I had created for these reasons. Because Mr. Kesh mentioned that braided wire causes nothing but problems, the twisted wire. The second thing he mentioned was that the coils work best, that I should be building it with coils. And the third issue, if I could just go back to the previous slide, if you see there are some black flakes on the table, that is not dirt, that is actually the nano layer flaking off from the heat treated areas. Just a little bit of adjustment on the wire causes the nano coating to flake off. So these were the issues that I face, and I was thinking about it, and I said, okay, I have to build this one with a coil. So what I did is I created a frame with just a single piece of 1.8 millimeter copper wire. This frame would be used as a support to hold up the vertical part of the coil. Otherwise, the coil just flops over like a dead fish. So once I fed the coil around, I fed it through, and it came out to the correct position. I connected it up, and this is what it looks like from the front. So we have the 4 reactors over there. I'll show it in a while. And in my mind, this is what is required to achieve the form. This is looking from the top. So the way that the ring was created is that I took the leads from the end of the coil on both sides. I turned both of them counterclockwise. This is from the left. This is from the right. And I connected both of them to the frame on the right-hand side. The coil itself is also in a counterclockwise fashion. So based on what Mr. Keshe described last week, these are the reactors that are numbered. Number 4 is on top. And 2, 3 will form the base. Sorry? Say again? Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, I'll pull my earpiece closer to my mouth then. Okay, this is the side view. This is the top view. Again, the reactors are numbered. Side view with a close-up of where the leads from the top reactor are connected to the frame wire. This is the rear view. And the reason why I connected those 2 wires coming from the top ring to the frame is because of this. I was hoping to also make it into a power generator, not just a unit for lift and motion. So this device, in my mind, would provide the functionality for many things: lift, motion, power generation, oasis unit, material creation, and so on and so forth. Okay, Mr. Keshe, any comments up to this point?
The only thing is, why didn't you carry on with the coil on the coil number 4? You put
Say again, sir? Say again, please.
Why can't you carry on with the same coil to become number 4?
It is the same coil.
Yeah, but it's different winding, it's different material in number 4 than the rest.
No, sir, it's actually the flash. I took the picture with the flash. That's why it's reflecting in a different way. Same coil. The ends of the coil, what I did is I left a lot of wire at the end of
coil
each
winding is not a continuation of the same tube, if you call it.
of the same tube, yes.
It's different.
It's not using a different
wire as a coil to it.
The only different wire is the frame. It's the thicker wire that is running back, down, and out.
So what's next to that? You nano-coated it?
Not yet, sir. Actually, that is the question that I have right now. Is it possible to use a caustic coating only?
If I was you, I'd go for caustic.
Only caustic coating, okay. No
Heating makes the metal uncontrollable.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I will do the caustic coating only. Second question I had is after the coating and once I prayed for the reactor, once I have put in my soul energy to the reactor, to the unit, is there a need to initialize or prime or energize the unit in any other way before it starts to lift and show motion?
Not really. I don't see why.
Okay, so if I just leave it over there, at its own time, once it is ready, it will just lift by itself.
Depends. Will you wish to carry it, or would it work the way you want it?
Okay, so if I ask it to lift whenever it's ready, it will just do it for me. Yes? Because I've never done this before. This time I'm asking.
We don't know. You let us know.
Okay, sir, I will do that. So number 3 has been answered already. Number 4 is I'm going to be doing this in the confines of my room because I don't have any other place to basically do it. That being the case, when it achieves lift, when it is starting to move around, what are the best practices that I should adopt to move it
Yes.
around, and what should I
No,
not do?
the problem lies in a lot of things. It doesn't lift the way you think.
Okay. This part I don't understand, sir. Could you please explain?
A lot of lifts people don't achieve because your intention is wrong. You got to understand the work of the system.
Okay.
I see a possible
Let me
failure.
explain let me explain to you something. I expected, but not unknowingly, to achieve lift, and it happened on a certain day, certain time. I've written this
Right. Okay.
and we'll achieve lift on a specific date. And it's written. I asked Caroline to do it the time and the date.
Okay.
It's a significant day. And that day I wasn't aware of it. After we put the books down to write about the history of the process, I understood why, the time and the date.
Okay. Right. So I would pretty much see the unit start to lift on that particular date and particular time. Is that correct, sir? Hello?
Yes, we are listening.
Yes, so I would expect to, once the whole process is complete, set it on my table. I just leave it there with my intentions on it, and I would expect it to
Depends.
lift.
I
Correct?
think you're going to go a long way before you do that.
Okay.
In the teachings of the plasma section, in the what they call normal teaching sessions, we start going in that direction of how you can do. But they can't put you there because my intention is to fly, the thing will fly.
Right. Okay, let me give it a go and see what happens.
Let us know. Make sure there's a camera running, huh?
I wanted to make
Yes, sir.
I wanted to make a comment on an observation. It looks like he's got a coaxial configuration where there's a wire running down the center of each coil, and I wonder if that would have a negative effect on positive outcome. I don't hear any reply. I think we've lost connection again.
Yeah, I would like to know as well.
You can't. Pardon?
Hello?
Yeah, carry on. Ali was trying to tell me something. Can you repeat?
Okay, I'm going to have to repeat that. Did you hear that my comment? I noticed that there's a center wire running down the middle of each coil. And I was wondering if that would have a negative effect on getting a positive outcome with this
Nope.
configuration.
Nope.
So
You
that's,
have to
you said
understand
no.
the purpose of the wire in the center.
Yeah, the wire in the center is a full continuous wire that is bent into form and forms the frame for the coil to rest on. And the coil is also one piece.
Yep.
So it becomes part of the structure, yes?
More or less.
Okay, sir. I will go and give it a go, and I will share with everyone what happens after this.
If I might, another suggestion you may wish to try, if you reduce the diameter of your coil with that size of wire, you're going to wind up with a much stronger mechanical structure. It should hold itself up.
Okay, I need to find a smaller dowel to wind the wire around. Currently, for the coil, I'm using 1.2 millimeter copper wire, and for the frame, I'm using 1.8 millimeter copper wire.
Okay, so if you went to a 6 or an 8 millimeter mandrel for your coil, it should be stiff enough that it should hold itself up. And also, if I understood correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, please, Mr. Keshe, when in where the number 4 is marked, and he has the ends of his contiguous coil wrapped into a different style of coil, that is actually incorrect. The ends of the contiguous coil should be meshed together to make one solid tube. Is that correct? Apparently not.
We might be having audio problems at the other end as well, or maybe they're
Okay.
having another conversation. Not sure.
But I
Okay.
think that's what he was mentioning when he was asking about that that
There's
second shape of coil on the top.
Yeah, there seemed to be a hint at that, I believe. In terms of the coil itself containing a plasma, then it seems kind of leaky at the ends, let's say.
Yeah, if I remember my structural physics correctly, if you were to stretch the ends of your long coil slightly, they should be able to mesh seamlessly together and make a one solid tube.
Okay, I will give that a go as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate the input.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, I find that center wire very interesting. That it would probably give a lot different effect because I was, you've got a much longer copper path on the outside than you do in the inside.
Oh, that's
Right.
not how that works. The inside of that tube is going to become the path for the plasma. The plasma is going to be encapsulated within that spring, not on the surface of the spring. So the paths are actually equal.
That was my understanding of it. And I wanted to ask Rick something about how tight should he have those coils? Should he leave any spaces in between it? Because it seems like they're going to be releasing fields.
You're going to wind up with the inside being tight and the outside being loose. There's no way around that.
Well, it's an interesting point, and Mr. Keshe has mentioned that recently about the spacing of the coils being actually very important, and the size of the
Spacing is less than the diameter of the wire. It should act as a trap, or
If I remember
as much trap as possible.
So sorry, if I remember correctly, in one of the past workshops, Armin mentioned that we must be able to slide a razor blade in between each coil of the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I made sure that I was able to do that.
Yeah, you don't want a really solid, tight coil. Otherwise, you're going to mess up your nano coating flow.
That's right, because it becomes a whole solid chunk and not a coil anymore.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, you
Yes,
want
I
everything.
made sure I did that.
You want everything to be uniform and consistent. And another thing I want everyone to remember, Mr. Keshe made a very important statement the other day. I don't know if anybody remembers it, but he said the AC flows through the copper and the DC, our plasma, flows on the nano coating.
Right.
Yeah. Back to
That's why that center wire is important, because you can run AC through it and get DC off the other coil. That's the arming device, basically, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
but keep in mind that we are twisting our copper wire to our load and our grid onto the nano coating, and we don't want to have it bite in through the nano coating and connect copper to copper.
yes, it's only an inductive coupling that we're working with there.
Yep, that's why I did what I did this way. This is the back of the whole setup. So I've dropped everything down. The idea was this is going to be the power generation portion of the whole unit itself, the rear lead.
It's an interesting design. I'm looking forward to seeing your results.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm really I don't know what to expect with it yet, but I'm going to put my intentions on it, and let's see what transpires. Let's see what develops from here. I just wanted to show to Mr. Keshe, confirm the correctness of the thought process, and also ask about the caustic coating, which he has already confirmed. Just use caustic and coat the whole thing. I'll do that, and let's see. Maybe we might have a result next week or in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, another question that just came up to my mind. If we make that one contiguous tube
Okay.
in that interesting flow direction, so instead of having the ends of the wires just wrapped into a coil on top, but have the ends of the tubes put together, so it's one solid tube. Is
Right.
there a saturation point of the plasma? Is it going to build and build up to a certain point and then just sit there, or is it just going to continue to build until we draw it off?
Well, a question that I
That's a
had.
good question.
a
Yeah, go ahead.
question-
Sorry.
A question that I had was, just at the top of the tube where you have the fourth open plasma. What if you were
Yes.
to start the configuration where in a cone shape, where you were directing the fill flow to concentrate towards there, where you kept the same coil, but you wound it
Yep.
like the end of a pencil, kind of like.
So it tapers inwards
Yeah,
and
it was
upwards.
tapers inward. Yeah. What do you think about that, Rick?
It could be possible.
Try it
Would it
and see
reflect
what it
it back,
feels
or
like.
would it concentrate it? That's the question.
Try
If
it
it
and see
reflects,
what it feels like.
yeah, if it reflects it back, we might wind up with some, I don't know, I don't even know if phase issues would come into play here, but what's come to my mind is you'd wind up with a cancellation effect at the end of the tube, or it would taper it down and focus it like a laser coming out of the end.
That's my contention. Is that's what I'm looking at, is actually narrowing the tube. And if you narrowed the tube, you'd be able to create more of a circular structure at the top on what he wanted.
Right.
Okay, the reason I actually did the ring on top that's marked number 4 is because with the old design, what Mr. Keshe said was that would become reactor number 4. So I thought that, okay, it needs to maintain a certain shape in order for the plasma to flow and for the fields to interact in order to create that effect. That's why I made it circular. But I'm open to trying other configurations as well.
Well, I agree with your contention, but you're combining two separate systems here, and you need to maintain the integrity of the system. You've got a plasma conduit loop for 2 and 3. You've got an
Mm-hmm.
encapsulated plasma flow for number 1.
Yep.
You would need
Yep.
another encapsulated loop for reactor 4. So reactor 4 would be the same sort of configuration as 2 or 3.
S2 or 3. Okay.
Now I don't know if you want to make
Not
a twist in the loop so that the left side of 4 becomes the left side where 1 comes up underneath and then vertical. If it would go to the 3 side and then back around to the 2 side and then down where the vertical portion beside 3 comes down. I don't know if you'd want to actually twist it like that, whether that would mess things up because you're going to wind up with an opposite flow there. But is it not with the dynamic reactors? The top one is turning in the opposite direction, is it not? Do I remember
Yes,
that
it
right?
is.
Okay, so
Yes, that's right.
you do want to twist at the top then, because you
Okay,
want that
so that means
direction.
instead of going anti-clockwise like what I've done right now, I will want to twist it and go clockwise instead, so it goes in the opposite direction.
Yeah, where 4 is would be a loop in the coil, so it would cross
Right.
over at the vertical point, and that would reverse the flow of that plasma at the top reactor compared to 1 or 2 and 3.
Would you be able to annotate on screen right now as to just a drawing as to exactly how it would look like in your mind? I'm trying to picture it, but I'm not exactly getting it.
You can annotate on the picture if you want.
Yeah, I'm just setting it up right now.
Okay.
What's going to show up good on that? I think a light blue will probably show up. If we brought this loop down, looped it around, and then into this side, like
Where's the, oh, thank you.
that. Okay, the coil itself would follow this blue line.
Okay. So have it as a contiguous coil, but following the loop that you have just drawn.
Well, what I'm thinking of is with the dynamic reactors, we've got the 3 on the bottom turning in the same direction. The 1 on the top is turning in the opposite direction. So
Yes.
you're going if this is operating in a similar fashion with the flow of plasma through that conduit, you're going to want to reverse the direction of the flow on the upper portion of the reactor, of the upper, let's call it a vortex.
Right.
To mimic the dynamic reactors.
Yeah, I think I can finagle it in such a way that it goes in the opposite direction to 1, 2, and 3. I might be able to do that. I just have to think of how to get it out from the wireframe and do that, or even maybe build it without the wireframe, like what was suggested earlier on.
Yeah, if you go to a smaller diameter coil with that size of wire, it will be a much stiffer spring. You'll be able to actually manipulate it.
Right.
And,
I'll give it a go. The only problem is that I was not able to wind using power tools. They kept failing. So this one I literally wound by hand.
Okay. Another thing. Where are you located?
I'm in Singapore.
Okay. So do you have the multi-strand bare copper ground wires on the outside of your houses?
On the outside of the house.
Yeah, there's usually like a metal post driven into the ground with a big hunk of copper wire attached to it that goes and grounds your house out.
That's a good question.
We actually live in apartment flats,
okay.
So everything goes through the grid system. So I don't have exactly what you're describing, but I understand what you mean.
Okay, the reason why I brought it up is that wire is called hard copper. It's very, very stiff. And the copper you're using, this is probably regular like 14-2 house wire that you strip the insulation out, right?
This one? No, it is not. This is a solid copper wire.
Yeah. But
This is
likely
solid.
it's a soft copper. That's why it's so floppy. You can get a
Not exactly. Not
you,
exactly. This is copper wire that I buy from a metal merchant,
okay.
and it comes bare. It doesn't come with any insulation whatsoever.
Okay. Ask them if they have a hard copper wire.
Okay.
It's actually heat treated, it's hardened, and it's a lot harder to work with, but it's going to give you a lot more structural strength on your
Actually,
process.
you just gave me another idea. I could actually try doing this. Um, I could do the winding. I could put a temporary frame behind the wires and then set them to caustic coat, because once the caustic coating is done, the wires actually become very hard and they become difficult to manipulate. Maybe that might be sufficient to increase the rigidity of the whole structure.
It could be. It's just where you're connecting your frame to is going to you're gonna have issues with the coating at that point. But
Right.
um, if you just use
I'm
like
talking about doing
a pin stuck
I'm
into
talking about doing it without the frame.
right. Well, you'll need to
So
have
I
some
would
way
do
hold it together with when you're nano coating it. So
Yeah, I can. No, that is not an issue. I can always tie maybe a thin string or something like that, and then tie it into the box, and
right.
then do the nano coating, so it wouldn't be badly affected.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking I can build this. I've got the mandrel, I've got the drill. The only thing I don't have is a piece of wire long enough because that looks like that's going to be probably 8 meters of wire that you use, maybe 10 meters for that coil.
Easily,
Yeah.
easily, easily. I bought okay, for this coil. Interestingly enough, the wire that I bought came from Japan. I had to order it online, and it was 100 meters. Interestingly enough, it's cheaper for me to buy from Japan than it is to buy locally in Singapore. The wire came in a roll of 100 meters, and it's thinned a significant amount just for this coil. So yeah, the length of the coil that you see in the picture. Let me just go back to the previous picture. This is about 55 to 60 centimeters, the length of the coil itself.
Okay.
Did you pay attention to the? I assume that you took this all from a long, a big spool. You've got to, and what I'm getting at is you've got to pay attention to your start and finish off the spool, so
Okay.
you remain a consistency. The reason why is because when it's drawn out of the mandrel at the factory, it as it's cooling it it has an order, and if you mess up that order, Mr. Kesh said that you could have well, I'm assuming, well, he said to pay attention to the start and finish. That was important to
I
be
did not pay attention to that, unfortunately. How would I do it? Because it came cut to length 100 meters, and they used twist ties to just tie the whole coil together and ship it to me in a box.
Well, let me
Well,
sum it up. Let me sum it up for you. If you didn't pay attention to it, you should always do another copy of it, and the next time pay attention
Okay.
to the start and finish so it's symmetrical. Now, another thing I'm
Okay.
thinking of
It's not a
is
matter of being
uh,
symmetrical. It's a matter of it's more a matter of setting which is your in and out basically. So you either have to set that with your intention or use your meter if you're nano coating to drain it and so on to determine which end is which. And if you're winding a coil like that, though, then you're going to have it's not going to be messed up along the way. It'll be one continuous coil, right? So if the two ends are connected, and at that point, maybe you could determine whether they're plus or minus or whatever. You'd have to find that out somehow.
oh, I have another suggestion. If I was going to wind a coil, I might put a propane flame on the bending part as I'm bending it across my threaded bar.
no, you don't want to do that. That's going to anneal the copper and make it very, very soft.
Yeah, that's what it does. I tried fire coating one of my earlier coils,
it was a disaster. The wires just expand, it loses its shape, and then I can't get it back in shape, and the coating just takes off actually.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah,
point
so that's
because
why.
basically it's like two different kinds of copper. You could take that annealed soft copper and wind it back and forth a bunch of times and what's called work hardening of the wire by bending it, and that actually
Right.
creates a different crystalline structure within the wire. And it is two different crystal structures, the hard wire versus soft wire. And I don't know if anyone's done any real tests as far as the nano coating, how that changes the nano coating, because you bet it would in some way.
Oh, the hard copper, the coating is beautiful.
The caustic coiling creates a more compact electric, or what do you call it, power loading with fire will creates a much looser. It's the energy
Okay.
so
It gives you more layers.
it gives you more feeling of more layers. We tried methane gas or different ways of coating, and especially with the coils, it makes it horrendously hard.
Mr. Cash, actually, there was a question earlier on regarding reactor number 4 in the picture right now. There were some suggestions that were made earlier on that number 4 should actually run in the opposite direction to 1, 2, and 3, and some good suggestions were made. Do you have anything else to add on to that, sir?
No.
Okay, no worries. I will go and do a few more examples and see what works.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cash. Appreciate it.
Very much. We call it a day. We meet each other back on Monday at 10 o'clock. We spend the time in enlightening each other in how we free man from the shackles of energy. From Monday, everything changes. At least we change collectively. From all continents will be here to change, and at the same time, interesting enough, there are others who are very interested to be here to share it with us. And please bring everything. If you want to bring a sleeping bag, food, and whatever else, if you want to get together and build it, that we see this path through the freedom of the energy. Just remember one thing, don't be selfish, don't make for one yourself. If you order, don't order one for yourself, order one for your enemy first, and then one for your friend. And as we said, we try to do one thing, and energy is just a decoy from the reality. And that's on the board. Together we can end war and hunger and suffering. And if we are wise enough, we'll find a path through the space that we can escape from this village of Earth. So we are looking for power. I look for equality and justice and peace. Maybe somewhere we can meet. Thank you very much. And we'll meet on Monday.
Okay, Mr. Kesh, will that be on the Knowledge Seekers workshop channels?
On every channel you can put it.
Okay.
Wherever you can.
It'll be open to the public and on the Knowledge Seekers workshop channel, I believe.
The whole of next week, whenever it's to do with the power unit, the Maghreb unit, for public, we have private session teachings. We keep a private session, but it's part of the whole structure. This is what the whole foundation was set up for, literally what we started last Friday in Rome, and now we build on it. Put it this way, I knew ambassadors won't do anything in 10 days. It was just a gesture. have an excuse. If they say when happened, instead we invited you, you didn't come. So they can blame themselves when they're not no more ambassadors. But try to educate as many people to be there and try to make a record of it and can give the others to do it. The faster we manage to achieve a huge number, at least something 200-300 million in the next few months, then we still got a long way to go. Thank you very much for today. And we'll see you Monday morning at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
We'll have a session this afternoon. Don't forget this afternoon, once we have a meeting, most probably at 4 o'clock with the 10 mayors of this district. They're coming to have their own session, and we have invited them if they want to join us for part of the work. So the session this afternoon could be finishing very quickly by about 4:30 because they will be using the auditorium for their work. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
Okay,
Bring as
thank
many
you.
people as you can on Monday.
This is a very memorable workshop. I'm going to remember this one.
I hope a good way.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, I think we should wrap it up on that note. So ends the 84th Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute for Thursday, October 22nd, 2015. And once again, thank you everybody for attending, and for those who are attending these workshops, this will be open again on Monday coming up next week. Okay, bye for now.